Rain fell upward, splashing the clouds instead of the earth. Shadows moved independently, sometimes ahead of their owners. Mirrors reflected doors that didn't exist behind you. The stars blinked twice, then disappeared entirely. The clock ticked backward, but no one seemed to notice. The ground breathed like lungs under your feet. Your reflection whispered before you spoke. Lightning struck, but no thunder followed. A voice called your name, though no one was there. The moon split into two, and the sky pretended nothing happened. Sometimes reality doesn't break in loud ways. It bends quietly, just enough for you to doubt what you saw. Rain isn't always water. It can be the sky's attempt to cleanse itself of memories it no longer wants. Every shadow hides a story, but some stories aren't meant to be uncovered. Time doesn't move forward or backward. It folds, and we live in the creases. The scariest monsters are not under your bed. They live in your decisions. Every storm carries voices, but only those who listen closely can hear them. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of everything unsaid. Sometimes the world feels familiar, not because you've been here before, but because it's waiting for you again. Fear doesn't always roar. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper in the back of your mind. The night is not empty. It's filled with everything daylight refuses to show. Memories don't fade with time. They sharpen in silence. What if déjà vu isn't a glitch, but a reminder you ignored the first time? Pain never truly disappears. It transforms into a language only your heart understands. Some doors close for a reason, but curiosity is what makes us open them anyway. The past isn't gone. It waits patiently in every reflection. Every goodbye echoes in places your heart thought it had forgotten. Shadows stretch longer, not to scare you, but to remind you that light is still near. Sometimes the scariest ghosts are the people still alive in your memories. Fear doesn't make you weak. It proves you still care what happens next. Time doesn't heal. It teaches you how to carry pain differently. The stars don't just shine. They burn, and their pain lights our nights. Every scar is both a wound and a badge of survival. Grief is not the absence of love. It's proof of how deeply you felt it. Loneliness isn't silence. It's the sound of your heart echoing unanswered. Hope doesn't shout. It flickers quietly, refusing to die. Sometimes the darkness reveals more than the light ever could. Love never disappears. It changes form, hiding in music, places, and whispers. Fear is not in the dark. It's in the thought of what waits there. Courage is not loud. It trembles, but moves anyway. Pain is the body's memory, and memory is the soul's scar. Dreams don't end when you wake. They bleed into reality in ways you don't see. Sometimes silence is louder than screams. Every storm ends, but the ground remembers the rain. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about learning to breathe alongside the pain. Shadows never leave. They just wait for the right light. The moon has seen every secret and judged none. Time doesn't erase faces. It only blurs their edges. Every photograph is a graveyard of moments you can't relive. Fear grows in silence, but dies in truth. Courage is survival disguised as fragility. Love bends, but does not break. Every scar whispers, you made it. Pain teaches lessons joy never could. Hope is rebellion against despair. Grief is the shadow of love. Some goodbyes never leave your lips, but live in your silence. Loneliness screams louder in crowded rooms. Time is cruel but fair. Every storm clears the sky eventually. Pain carves spaces for strength to grow. Love never dies, it changes addresses. Shadows remind us that light exists. Every broken heart beats differently, but it still beats. Healing doesn't erase scars, it honors them. Sometimes the darkest nights reveal the brightest stars. Fear lies, but courage whispers truth. Silence hides storms. Every ending is also a beginning in disguise. Pain doesn't make you weak. It proves you're alive. Hope is fragile, but even fragile things can lift mountains. Shadows stretch when the sun leaves. just like memories grow heavier with time. Every scar is survival art. Courage is trembling, but moving anyway. Grief bends you, but doesn't end you. Love leaves fingerprints no time can erase. Silence can comfort or suffocate. Fear feeds on what you refuse to face. Hope flickers, but never fully dies. Pain refines the heart. Shadows walk beside you whether you notice or not. Time doesn't give, it trades. Every scar glows under the right light. Healing is slow, but it's real. Courage loves quietly. Love is infinite, even when lost. Grief is the weight of unspent love. Hope glows even in ashes. Pain shapes identity. Shadows carry secrets the sun forgets. Silence is the soul's language. Every broken promise becomes a ghost. Time whispers truths you tried to ignore. Courage is persistence, not absence of fear. Fear creates monsters you can slay. Love bends reality itself. Healing doesn't erase pain. It teaches coexistence. Every wound tells a story. Shadows prove you exist. Silence carries messages words never can. Pain burns, but fire also purifies. Hope is stubborn in despair. Fear is fragile when faced. Love lingers in echoes. Every goodbye plants a seed for hello. Courage is survival disguised as fragility. Time doesn't heal, it teaches endurance. Shadows deepen meaning. Silence whispers strength. Pain teaches resilience. Grief carries love forward. Hope is a rebel of the soul. Every scar is victory. Courage hides in small steps. Fear fades with light. Love leaves echoes forever. Healing is proof of patience. Silence can be a weapon or a gift. Pain is survival. Shadows wait for light. Every scar is proof of endurance. Time bends, but never stops. Fear is temporary. Strength lasts. Courage is refusal to quit. Grief lingers, but softens. Love transforms, never ends. Hope flickers in the darkest corners. Pain births wisdom. Shadows remind you of where you've been. Silence holds unfinished stories. Every scar means you kept going. Fear is loud, but hope is louder. Time carries both wounds and cures. Love is both poison and medicine. Courage is persistence when the world says stop. Hope is fragile, but enough. Silence suffocates when shared poorly. Pain builds endurance. Shadows stretch, but never break. Grief bends, but teaches. Love never fully leaves. Time whispers and scars. Courage is trembling forward. Hope rebels against endings. Silence can hold peace. Shadows live in memory. Pain is fire that forges. Every scar shines in acceptance. Fear fades in truth. Healing is slow courage. Love bends, but survives. Hope is quiet, but stubborn. Grief reshapes love. Courage is persistence, disguised as fragility. Silence hides answers. Pain refines meaning. Shadows remind us of the sun. Time transforms wounds into wisdom. Fear is fragile in the light. Hope rises even from ashes. Every scar is a chapter of survival. Sometimes the world bends in ways you cannot explain, reminding you that reality is far more fragile than you believe. Rain is not just water, it is the sky's confession, written in falling drops. Every storm carries stories older than time, whispered through thunder. The scariest thing about silence is not its emptiness, but the truths it hides. Shadows are not proof of darkness. They are evidence of light trying to reach you. Time doesn't erase. It teaches you how to live with what you can't forget. The past doesn't knock. It seeps into the present, disguised as déjà vu. Some doors are never meant to be opened, but curiosity makes us ignore the warnings. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of being understood. Grief is love with nowhere to go, so it stays haunting your heart. The rain doesn't fall to drown. It falls to remind you the sky still feels. Fear isn't in the darkness. It's in the thought of what hides inside it. Sometimes mirrors don't reflect you. They reflect the version you're running from. Love never disappears. It lingers in echoes, smells, songs, and shadows. Silence speaks when words fail, and often says more than you wish to hear. Every scar is a map of where you've been and proof that you survived. The heart doesn't break once, it cracks endlessly, and each time it grows back differently. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. Sometimes the monsters you fear most wear familiar faces. Memory is the cruelest ghost. It doesn't just haunt, it rewrites itself. The night sky isn't empty. It's filled with every wish the world ever made. Pain doesn't fade. It transforms you into someone who can carry it. What if dreams aren't imagination, but fragments of another reality? Every goodbye echoes in the spaces where laughter once lived. Hope doesn't shout. It whispers, and even the whisper can move mountains. Some storms don't come to destroy, they come to cleanse. The moon has seen every tear and never judged a single one. Fear is not the monster. It's the silence before it appears. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about learning to carry memories differently. Love is the most beautiful ghost. It never leaves, it just changes form. Sometimes the reflection in the water tells a story the mirror never could. Trust doesn't shatter in noise, it crumbles in silence. Pain is the language of growth. It writes lessons you never wanted but needed. Some wounds never bleed, but they ache louder than screams. Loneliness whispers your name at night, reminding you of what's missing. The stars don't shine, they burn, and their pain is what lights the sky. Courage doesn't erase fear, it holds its hand. Every scar glows when the right light finds it. Shadows prove that light is still nearby, even when you can't see it. Every broken heart beats differently, but it still beats. Time doesn't heal. It teaches you to live alongside the hurt. Some dreams feel more real than the mornings you wake to. Love leaves fingerprints on the soul that never fade. Grief is endless love looking for a home. Fear grows in silence, but dies in truth. Every storm leaves behind a clearer sky. Sometimes the night doesn't hide you, it reveals you. Pain is temporary, but what it teaches becomes permanent. Hope is rebellion against despair. Some goodbyes never leave your lips, but live in your silence. Courage is trembling, but walking anyway. Shadows stretch longer as the sun sets, just like memories grow heavier as time passes. Every scar whispers you made it. Healing doesn't erase the pain, it makes space for joy beside it. Sometimes love hurts because it grows too big for the body holding it. Silence can comfort or destroy, depending on how it's given. Fear is the oldest companion of humankind, but also its greatest teacher. What you bury deep doesn't die, it waits. Pain sculpts you into someone you wouldn't recognize, but desperately needed. Every goodbye plants the seed for a new beginning. Loneliness is heaviest in crowded rooms. Love bends, but never fully breaks. Shadows don't follow, they wait. Every tear is proof of love that mattered. Sometimes the darkest nights bring the brightest stars. Hope is fragile, but even fragile things can be powerful. Fear lies, courage tells truth. Grief bends you, but doesn't end you. Every ending is a disguised beginning. The rain doesn't ask permission to fall, it simply does. Time is cruel but fair. Pain burns, but fire also purifies. Silence hides storms inside it. Courage is quiet survival. Love doesn't vanish, it lingers in echoes. Every scar is both wound and weapon. Shadows live where memory lingers. Hope is stubborn even in despair. Fear feeds on silence. Healing is slow but real. Grief never leaves, it changes shape. Love is both poison and cure. Time whispers truths we ignore. Shadows stretch when light fades. Pain refines the heart. Every wound tells a story. Silence is louder than words. Fear is the mind's greatest architect. Hope flickers, but never dies. Courage is survival disguised as fragility. Shadows keep secrets the sun forgets. Every broken promise becomes a ghost. Healing doesn't erase scars, it honors them. Love never truly leaves. Time doesn't give, it trades. Pain is proof of life. Silence can suffocate more than screams. Courage is the refusal to stop. Every scar shines when you own it. Fear fades with light. Shadows remind you that you exist. Grief is the weight of love. Hope is the rebel of the soul. Pain builds resilience. Love transforms, never ends. Time bends but never stops. Silence carries messages words cannot. Shadows tell truths light avoids. Courage is trembling but moving. Fear is loud, hope is quiet. Every ending writes a new chapter. Pain is a sculptor of strength. Silence can be a gift or a weapon. Shadows prove the sun is near. Love leaves echoes forever. Grief lingers but softens. Hope glows even in ashes. Fear creates monsters you can slay. Every scar is survival art. Silence holds unshed tears. Time changes faces, not hearts. Pain teaches what joy can't. Shadows walk with us always. Love is infinite even when lost. Courage is small but mighty. Fear is temporary. Strength is lasting. Every goodbye is a new path. Silence carries unfinished stories. Hope is fragile, but it's enough. Pain births wisdom. Shadows deepen meaning. Grief teaches the depth of love. Love never asks, it stays. Time heals through patience. Silence is the soul's language. Fear fades when faced. Courage loves quietly. Shadows wait for light. Hope is refusal to quit. Pain shapes identity. Every scar means endurance. Silence whispers strength. Love bends reality. Grief carries love forward. Hope is rebellion. Courage is persistence. Fear is fragile in truth. Shadows vanish in dawn. Pain is survival. Every scar is victory.